Good morning, truth seekers and defenders of freedom. Glad to be here. This is going to be sort of a potpourri of ideas that I'm tackling and some of the sources that you can go and do your research. These are amazing times, and there's so many different things going on. I did a little research on crystalline. Crystalline because of those giant trees, and also the crystallines that connect through the crust of the earth, that all the pyramids line up with the Aztec, Mayan, Egyptian, Stonehenge, ley lines they're called, or crystalline lines, crystal lines. Christ, a line, Christ aligned. You're aligned with Christ. Crystal, Christos, and is it connected with those crystal trees? I get some images of those crystal trees. Let's just say I have a lineage that's connected with the wilderness. And that will be a video unto itself. But we're going to have a little bit of different jumping around, my squirrel moments. First of all, let's talk about so-called art, modern so-called art. So-called modern shock art is nothing more than toxic excrement shat by smug malcontents, radical, anti-God Marxists, and brainwashed feeling slaves. It's a control mechanism to attack God and what really is art, which I'll go into. And I'm kind of going fast because for me anyway, you probably wouldn't know, but we're having a big snowstorm and the power already went out once. And this is what happens sometimes when you live in the wilderness. So we'll try to get this done as quick as we can. So as we reawaken to the truth of our Creator, art will return to what it was meant to be, a way to hold high what is good in mankind and to honor God's pure grace and goodness. That is what art is. High art, it used to be called. They've twisted it purposely and they try to represent it as art, and it's just shock and, anyway, grossness. So it's God's pure grace and goodness is supposed to be reflected through the sculpting, through the music, through the painting, through the poetry. Did I miss any of the arts? Even through dancing and singing, honors God and what's high in mankind, rather than this twisted version that tries to shock and sicken. See, it's part of that fear porn that I talked about yesterday, or in previous videos. So that's one thing to think about. And, try to find out, who are these purveyors of perverted art? Who twisted it? When did it start to twist? And I'm not just talking about, some challenges to orthodoxy in art isn't necessarily bad. Creativity is right brain, goodly, godly. So I'm not saying that it should always be the same, but when did it become so repugnant? Who was behind that, and why is it what is getting so much backing financially by these bankster, it's money laundering. The art, the painting community has become a money laundering. Not all, of course, there's some real honest, goodly, godly painters, just like poets and writers and dancers and musicians. There's goodly, godly ones, but why are they attacked? Why are they shunned? Why won't they get any financial backing? Just like the scientists that step out of line, then they don't get any work. They don't get any of those bankster, mobster, you know, educational programming loans, or, they have a different word for it in the educational system, in that part of the system, um, that they're all trying to get grants and that sort of thing. But it's loans, it's bankster, it's left side thinking. It makes them susceptible to infiltration and corruption. So this is the art. Yeah, thinking of the art. Now, this is another thing I'm working on. 1,000 Year of Darkness. I've mentioned this a little bit in a couple of videos. What does it mean? There was the dark. We've been taught about the Dark Ages, and I've studied these for a long time. Think cracked mirror. That they reverse everything. Hang on a second. Some are starting to realize that the years have been really messed with. The reckoning, the recording from the liars, and the 1,000 years of darkness that's mentioned in the Revelation, which only means revealing, the revealing. It's not like in the Omen movies and the Hollywood horror stuff. It's actually very uplifting and promises for great goodness. So if the 1,000 years that's promised by the revealing in the Bible already happened, it would have, if it happened right after Jesus was raised, it would have ended about 1033. In 1066, William the Conqueror. Now remember, I'm putting these things together now. I don't have the conclusion. Challenge yourself. Find out more about it. But I've done a lot of study on William the Conqueror. 1066. And Harold Hardrada from Scandinavia. They both decide to invade England at the same time. Now, this Angle king did die, and he did make some promises supposedly to both of them, but come on, it's very suspicious. And so they weakened this very powerful English army between the two of them, and then William the Conqueror just ran over them. But he almost lost too. It was like right on the cusp. So anyway, this could be leading to the final destruction of the ancient Celts. When the Normans got their victory over England, they are like a Roman extension of Gaulish Roman extension. So they could have been, if they were defeated, then the ancient Celtic, even though these Angles were also Romanized Celts, but they still had Celts in Wales, Scotland, Ireland, which hadn't been, defeated by the Romans. But in 1066, the Normans came in and they slowly changed all that. And they finally destroyed the ancient Celts that began in Gaul by the Romans themselves. And then, you have to do some looking into history if you want to understand all this. But basically, the Romans had invaded Gaul, which was a Celtic tribes in what's now known as France. Then later, the Normans came from Scandinavia, and they were so terrifying that the Frankish king gave them some land, and they developed Normandy, and then they pretty much took over most of France and southern Italy and Sicily and all over the place. They were warring for God. They became Christian with a lot of pagan influences still. Sound familiar? Easter, um, Christmas tree. Um, so anyway, why would that could be if the 1,000 years of darkness took place, and that's what we've been told is the Dark Ages, then 1066 would have been about the end of that. But we don't know how many years were wiped out. There's all kinds of missing stuff. And were the Druidic holdouts in the ancient Celtic Druidic holdouts in Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, um, were they still protecting the lines of David and of Jesus? Truth. What is the truth? So now I'm looking into some of the Gnostic hidden books, some of those that were found in caves, just like those Dead Sea Scrolls, and how come we don't see them being talked about? But there's other ones as well. I have some of that information coming up. They're hidden in North Africa now, in Libya, as a matter of fact. There's a lot of that line of goodly, godly descendants were hidden in those very same countries that the Normans just had to get into and conquer. These, why? How come we don't hear about this? This time, Libya, rather than Egypt, is where they're hidden. This could tie into Tartaria, and hiding all that information, changing the maps, changing the narratives. So we've been lied to about just about everything, but not about that. Okay, fine, sure. There's level Earth. There's this round Earth theory, which is just like evolution presented as scientific fact, when it's not proven, and it's often disproven. But again, the scientists who disprove it are shunned and silenced and even killed. So these pesky mud floods. How come we didn't learn about that in school? Why was it taken out of all the books? There's information there. There's some in pictures. They didn't get rid of all the information. So now I've been researching the Gospel of Jesus, searching the secret teachings of Jesus. I found a great place where you can get PDFs for free of whole books. It's called PDF. What is it called? Hang on. PDF Drive, like driving a car, but one word, PDF Drive, pdfdrive.com. And so this is real. This is mostly true. You will discern the guesses of the author. Transcriber. What is transcribe? You're a scriber, right? So you need your discernment when you're going into some of these Gnostic readings. What's a forgery? What isn't? Another one like the Dead Sea Scroll. Check this out. Nag, N-A-G, second word, Hamadin. No. Hammadi, sorry. So Nag Hammadi, N-A-G, second word. H-A-M-M-A-D-I. So neg, N like Nancy, A-G, Hamadi, H-A-M like Mary, M like Mary, A-D-I. Neg Hammadi. Early churches working on Jesus' sayings, referred to as Q. Fascinating. From KLA, which is Germanic for source. Don't believe me, but I'm not making this stuff up. Go find out. Quuelle. You can find this out in German dictionaries. It means source, and it's referred to by scholars as Q for the source for the early churches putting together the information of the direct quotes of Jesus, and some of those came from these books which are hidden from us or have been, but they're coming out. They've been revealed. Some of these PDFs are from books that came out in the 80s. Of course, they're trying to silence it, but these books still exist. But you have to do a little peeking around to find them. Okay, so this stuff is all tying together, even if it sounds sort of disparate, different. Okay, now for something on a different subject, and then I got to go quick. Okay, here we go. Different subject. This is going to branch off into a whole different idea. Those who meant to serve the office of the peace turned into truncheon-wielding petty thugs, pepper-spraying, loving citizens, and sovereign members of mankind, i.e. Ottawa, i.e. those fake things on January 6th in D.C. So much fakery and tomfoolery. So rather than protecting God's children from the mandates that obfuscate his pure, observable laws of freedom, also known as natural laws. That's why I tell you, get out to the wilderness, because that's how you observe those, which are God's laws. Plant, which are spelled out in the Constitution of these United States of America and other common law things. Planned perversions, all these all these mandates. Planned perversions, all the slow drip drip of the little wormy liar. We of the great awakening are on to these myriad minions. And the wise strength of the cleansing light is exposing and conquering what the liars meant for perversion. For you can twist truths, you can dwell underground, you can enshroud your devilish deeds in darkness, but you cannot harm his precious little ones with immunity, nor forever. We, the defenders of his light and the love warriors, are turning the tables now. The hunter has become the hunted. Red October, anyone? Begone, lying little worms. All right, so that's it. Connect the dots. Keep looking for the truth. I love you. God loves you. Woo, that was a fun little tour to France, wasn't it? Anyway, be good. Do good deeds. Seek the truth. It will set you free. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for watching. And if you like and subscribe, it will help reach out to more people. Thank you. God bless you. We love you. Bye.